Okay.
The dog really does have butter on him.
Than us just cramming it all into one day and having to rush through the back end of it like we normally do.
Because we started in the morning and then people need to go to bed by the time we hit game of the year. The best games is it's
no,
like, dude,
usually
it's
I
like
actually go to
12.
work.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, when are we recording that?
Of later,
Next generation.
eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, next
Okay.
generation.
Perfect.
But we are
What's
going to be
now?
going through the top 10 games of the previous generation. And going to be starting at number 10, eventually building up to number 1. Hopefully you have been listening to my previous 140 recommendations. You probably didn't, but
Where I have
maybe you did. But we're going to be kicking things off with Mr. Ryan's number 10 game.
Yeah, I do want to kick off. There's kind of like a caveat, I guess, to my list where I
The most
tried to go
straightforward
like,
category.
I tried to go like a mixture of subjective and I guess like a little bit more objective of like, there's stuff that I see that I maybe don't like that much or haven't really experienced too much, but it's like I can recognize. I mean, game recognized game.
Yeah, I feel
like,
that.
I can.
Yeah.
I
Game will
know
never
when
stop.
something's good, and that will kind of affect where something's on my list, or if it appears on my list. But I leaned harder into subjective. But my number 10, and this is probably pretty low on the list, but I just didn't play it, is Bloodborne.
Ooh.
It's like
Bloodborne is
Okay.
pretty fucking good video game.
Agreed.
I know that game
Gosh,
is
good one.
probably somewhere near the top of the Soulsborne games for me. I just didn't have a PS4, didn't have a chance to really play too much of it, but it's like, it's everything I want out of one of those games. And those are just kind of the best games, I think. That game style, that kind of stuff is very indicative of this generation.
I don't know to talk about Bloodborne now or to talk about Bloodborne as it comes up later.
Just do it as it comes up.
Call it a fucking hunch. It's going to show up later.
Yeah,
I mean,
I knew it would.
Call it a
I've never
hunch.
played it.
When are the Lords of the Fallen guys going to make a better Bloodborne? Like how they made a better Dark Souls.
When are the Lords of the Fallen? When are the Dark Souls guys going to make a better Surge?
They
I want
can't.
them to make
Surge
a
is
game
perfect.
based on the energy drink property.
When's Mountain Dew going to make a better Dark Souls?
But number 10.
Yeah, Bloodborne. That's a very good game.
yeah.
My number 10 is a game I already went and gushed about in a previous video. But my number 10 is The Beginner's Guide, the narrative tour de force walking simulator that we have had a couple more people play since that video. And by a couple more, it might just be Matt.
I played it. I finished it
bought it.
yesterday.
I bought it, haven't played it yet.
Oh, well, great timing, Sean. You got it in when you needed to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
squeezed
good
it
job.
right in there.
You had to
Um,
finish Control first.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't-
honestly,
Yeah, but it's
Not
been like a
put in this
week.
top 10.
I don't know if there's a whole lot extra for me to say about Beginner's Guide that I didn't already pretty much go in depth and talk about during the best story and writing category. But as someone who's a very gameplay oriented person, the fact that a walking simulator was able to crack my top 10, I think speaks fucking volumes. But I don't think I have a whole lot else to say about it, as it is fairly one note, as it is just the story and writing. And we talked about the story and writing.
It's got good art design too.
Yeah, it's got
Good
good
acting.
game jam look.
Mm-hmm.
Like it captures that very well. But yeah, I don't need to necessarily dwell on that anymore. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Mr. Matthews, number 10.
I have a feeling that that's how a lot of this is going to be.
And
Like,
yeah,
I have a feeling
wasn't-
most of it is going to be games we've already talked about, which is
And
fine.
I
but-
figured
I didn't
it
look
would
at any
be-
other lists beyond what I had listed before. Because if it was worth mentioning there, I doubt it was gonna. If I didn't mention anything earlier, it's not gonna crack my top 10.
I have
Right.
one, and I'm excited for that because I feel like it hasn't gotten enough love.
I think I might have a
Okay.
couple I
Undertale.
didn't mention.
I've got a couple I didn't mention.
Oh well.
But
Matt,
also,
hit me with your number 10.
I think throughout this thing, I'm probably not gonna hop in and talk about stuff as people mention my things, just to keep the order of the
Yeah,
list.
and that gives
Yeah.
us an opportunity to talk about why it's on our list, why we put it there. I
yeah.
like that.
So my number 10 is a game that I played part of one time, and then by the time I got a PlayStation, it was not available to play anymore. And that game is PT. It's just I know we've talked about it at least a little bit in the past few episodes, but it's just the best horror game that I've ever played.
Yeah, I think
Bar none.
it currently stands as just probably the best horror thing I've ever
Yeah.
played.
And it's
Even out of this generation.
super depressing that that's not the right word, but it's very unfortunate that it's not available.
It's very unfortunate that Konami doesn't want to make video games anymore.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
also,
RIP.
I think about it a lot. Like, do you think that game would have been ruined had they added to it? Like, do you think it would have been one of those, like, too much of a good thing, or they would have ruined, like, it would have
I
gotten to
think
the
it's,
point
it's
where you're
brevity is what is part of
Yeah.
what makes it so good.
I think that when you see what Kojima did to Death Stranding, I think there's an incredibly plausible scenario where a fully blown PT would suck ass.
yeah.
Well, I feel like if they made it anything outside of what it already is, maybe just longer,
it's
it
like
it's just not the same. Like if there was anything else to it,
it
if
needs
there was anything leading up to that point or anything outside the house or anything like that, that's not what it is.
I don't think you could make a $60 game that is as esoteric and weird as PT and have it sell. And if you were to do that, I think you would just have made Resident Evil 7,
Mhm.
which I'm not saying that those are like the Resident Evil 7 is as good as PT, but I think that is what PT would have been if it had been blown out into a full game. And Resident Evil 7 is great. Like I think it's fantastic, but it ain't no PT.
Right.
Nothing is.
I found out this week. So there's like the PC recreations of PT that constantly get like shut down. The one that floats around right now is pretty much 1-to-1, except there's whoever put it together put in dedicated to the memory of not Tekashi 6ix9ine, Triple X Temptation on the like splash page before it actually starts playing.
So they improved upon the greatness.
Exactly.
They figured it out. That's the only way you could possibly expand PT to make it better.
Yeah, that's what Silent
cracked
Hills
the
was.
code.
PT just with in loving memory of Triple X Temptation.
They should just have it update to be in memory of latest dead celebrity. Just like pick up on news tickers.
Instead
I'm
of
going to lie, I have
Jerry-
never known how to pronounce that rapper's name until you just said it out loud, so I'm very
No,
I
that-
think I said it
neither have I.
wrong, and I
I'm
said
not
it
even
in two different
confident that
ways.
Sean's right.
I
Okay.
don't think I'm right. I said it in
He
two
was so
different ways.
confident. He was so confident. I just believed him.
It could
Yeah,
be
Pete-
XXX Tentacion.
It's actually
That's how I say it.
Kai,
Um,
the
It's
fraternity.
cross. Actually.
PT
Ooh.
is a cool thing, and I almost think that it's weirdly inaccessible state now. It was cool to be there for that thing that's now more or less gone. Like I realize that emulation will get to a point where you can someday emulate a PS4 flawlessly on a computer, and people will be able to play it at some point. Like that shit's archived all over the place. But
Yeah.
it was cool to be there for a thing that's not there anymore. Like
Secret Club.
I mean, I think it speaks volumes to that. I mean, like I said, I only played part of it once,
And it almost makes
and
it
that
like
was
a bit
obviously
of a
that was years ago.
like it almost makes it like a bit of a like urban legendy kind
yeah,
of
like it's
Yeah.
it's cool.
it's the binge round of PS4 games.
thing. Yes.
So
But
Sean,
yeah, I'm ordering my special club members only I played PT jacket. Has a fetus and a sink on the back.
Get me,
This
order
says
me one.
Gareth.
Yeah, it says Jareth on the
Out loud.
Oh yeah.
Out loud.
so
Got one of
Sean,
those pull strings.
what is your number 10? Hopefully a game that will stick around a bit longer.
So
Yeah. Ugh,
this game,
RIP.
as I'm about to say this game, I'm going to start thinking about. I wonder if I'm going to have any game in common with Jason's list, because my number 10 is Crawl. I didn't expect at first that this would actually go on my list, but then I realized how much I played it alone, and I think that might be unique to me. But I played so much of just like solo in like against the AIs in there, I don't know. It scratches an itch. Like it's not even necessarily like I do like the pixel art and everything, but just for some reason it's very like the pace of it is just right for the sort of thing I like. Pace and the like length of a game. Yeah.
I think its gameplay is fun in isolation of its multiplayer stuff, but the multiplayer stuff is just, I mean, that's what I'm there for, obviously. But
I mean, that's what
think
brought me in. I didn't expect I would play it alone, but then I realized I bought it and it didn't have online.
I realized after recording my week of top 140 that I actually forgot to put Crawl on the list.
Oh man, it sucks.
Yeah, it didn't show up when I was getting the games put in, so it didn't make it to the ranking process. And I figured I realized like I don't think I talked about Crawl at all.
It's the 151st best game of the generation.
Yeah, worse than Song of the Deep.
Oof.
Song of the Hedgehog.
You're too bad.
Crawl's cool. It's one of those games that we played an incredible amount over the past generation, from beta to full release. Yeah, now we can never play it again because we can't see each other.
I'm actually fine with that at this point. I think I've milked it for all it's got.
Yeah, now we're gonna move on to Walk.
Jason, what's your number 10?
Let's leave the meeting right now. Oh,
So-
for fuck's sake.
No one has named a game that I've played yet, except for like 5 minutes of Crawl to know that it sucks. My number 10 is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
Okay.
Good choice.
I played both of those games almost back to back, 1 and 2, but I haven't played the like non-main tier games, and I've never played an old Wolfenstein. So I don't have any like connection to the history of the series.
You're not missing much.
That's kind of what I heard. But
It seems like every time a Wolfenstein comes out, it's very of its time. Like it's kind of like, hey, Wolfenstein 1 is first-person shooter. It plays like those first-person shooters.
Yep. I mean, yeah.
And it's like
Never
that
better than
every
the
generation.
corresponding Doom of its era.
Mm.
That's accurate and will be reflected in my list.
One might call Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus the 89th best game of the generation.
Some might call
We
it
can't
the
keep doing
10th
this.
best generation.
I play,
We can't keep
I
doing
play a
it.
lot fewer games than you.
I don't like that Dash has that list right next to him.
It's the same list. I'm literally pulling this from the thing that the
okay.
sorting
I guess
generated. That's how I figured out my top 10.
It's the
I do
same
want to know what
Excel
all of my games
spreadsheet.
rank on Dash's list as we go.
Yeah, because he didn't watch it. Why would he? Why would anyone watch it?
I watched like
Why would anyone watch it?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
gonna
already
watch
not
it.
even on the list. God, I'm doing bad.
Hunter-
Gotta total up my
Hunter,
games.
tell me what your game is so I can promptly tell you where I've ranked it.
I don't think you
Where'd you rank
ranked it.
PT?
I actually,
'Cause
the PT
it's-
wasn't on there.
My number 10 is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, because I will shill for this game until the day I die.
I thought Dark
Okay.
Arisen was Xbox 360 era.
So was the original game, but it got ported to PS4 and Xbox One in 2017 and Switch last year. Also
Breaking
PC.
the rules right away.
After I got all that shit earlier in the day.
I mean, he's serious. He'll chill for it as much as it takes.
Also, I forgot that there's a Netflix anime of it, and I'm sure it's terrible.
I've heard it's quite bad,
Well,
which is
yeah.
unfortunate because that Castlevania
Actually,
anime
Netflix
whips
is
ass.
my number 10 game.
Netflix presents top 10 games of the generation.
Netflix is actually my number 1 worst game of the year.
My number 9 game is Netflix presents Minecraft Story Mode. So
Ryan,
Yeah,
what
down for
is
that?
Ryan? Tell me a number 9 game that came out in this generation.
You know, honestly, comparing this to 9 is not a bad thing. It kind of reminds me of the art style of the movie 9. The main character's name is 6. It is Little Nightmares. It is a game that did something for the puzzle platformer genre, which I feel like is a genre that has gotten really stale since Limbo. Like Limbo came out, everyone tried their hand at doing a puzzle platformer, and it kind of sucked. Inside was pretty good, but I think Little Nightmares managed to kind of break out of how boring I find puzzle platformers nowadays.
Unravel was also good.
Yeah, I didn't finish that though. But it's good. It looks pretty, but I think it does similar things in different ways. It adds kind of a 3D space to those kind of games, which turns out that was all you needed to give it a little bit of flavor. Just add one more dimension to it.
And that sequel's out next year, right?
It's coming up soon. Like I'm really excited.
Littler
for it.
Nightmares.
It even had DLC for it that I thought was really good.
Big Nightmares.
Which I think is rare nowadays with DLC coming out. Is like you always get kind of like a few shitty ones and maybe like an interesting one, but each one of these was almost like a whole new section of the game, and they were all really good. And I feel like getting it as like a complete package is the correct way to do it.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of a game that did multiple DLC entries recently where they all knocked it out of the park, and none immediately come to mind.
Borderlands 3 got close.
I liked both of Control's DLCs.
Ooh, I'm so
But
excited
you
to play
haven't-
them. So
Yeah.
excited.
I still haven't played those. But yeah, Borderlands 3 had a pretty good DLC run. Like one kind of meh, but then the rest are actually pretty great.
Oh, don't worry, you get to get 4 more Borderlands DLCs now.
I think that's just a game mode and some other thingers, so I'm gonna skip it.
Just you wait. I still think it's weird they didn't put another character in that game yet, but with the way they do the skill trees, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Now,
We should
Dash,
play more of
use
that.
your skills to tree us your next game.
Um,
I didn't invest any points into segues.
Got him.
my number
Time
9.
style.
Once again, a game that I have talked about at various points in this. It is Undertale. When I think about incredibly important games over the last generation, I definitely think that Undertale is, even without my subjective enjoyment of that game, I think that it is objectively one of the most important games that came out over the last generation.
I mean, the
for
whole
better and for
hierarchy of the
worse.
Catholic Church has changed.
Yeah, it's rewritten the book. It's like, sure, I like the beginner's guide, but the Pope doesn't have opinions on the beginner's guide.
Or does he?
I mean,
But I enjoyed Undertale a whole awful lot. It didn't like change my outlook on any games. It's like it's something I really enjoyed the year it came out. It was just a really good fucking indie game. And I realized that it has fucking exploded over the last 5 years. But I definitely think it is one of the most important games that came out over the last generation. Definitely one of the ones I enjoyed the most. And while I would definitely say that like all 10 of the games I'm throwing out in this list are like must play super important games, like it is going to be one of the most important games, or like one of the most must play games for the rest of time.
It's also like super easy to recommend because it's a decently short game, along with like
most of the time.
not particularly complicated or hard unless you're doing a very particular route through it. But
yeah, it's like I feel confident recommending that game to literally anyone, because even if they maybe don't fall in love with it, I think that they will at least walk away from it enriched in some degree.
with the $100 you slipped inside the case.
Review this well, Mr.
funny.
Pope.
Turns out it was just
So
dog
funny
residue.
that there wasn't a physical release at the time. He must have given him a Steam code.
Just the Pope holding up a USB stick. So Matt, I'm gonna need you to hit me with your number 9 at this point.
Yes. Well, my number 9 is, again, it's a game we've already talked about. It's Axiom Verge. More like Axiom Turge.
Got him.
Fucking boom. It's super fun. It's a great Metroidvania with fantastic music, and Mr. Happ is a genius of a person.
I agree.
All that time making golf games really paid off.
I
Is
tell
there
you
a
what, brother.
mishap?
Turns out you can do
Yes.
Yeah, it's his child, Sean.
Whatever.
turns out when you're passionate about something, you can actually make something pretty cool. But yeah, I love Axiom Verge. I don't get around too much with Metroidvanias. Like I want to try out more, but this was kind of like my first foray into the 2D Metroidvania thing. That it still sticks with me. It's one of those games like I think I should boot that up again.
Yeah.
That I constantly.
I really like that game, but have never replayed it.
I haven't either.
I've thought about replaying it a lot. I just never. There's always like something else or some reason I don't want to.
Mhm.
I played it a ton for like 2 weeks and then got stuck and haven't gone back to it.
I'm very excited for
Jason
the second
Method.
one.
The
I can
trademark
do games.
Jason method. Unlike Sean's method of bitch about it in the group chat and then beat whatever is holding you back.
Wait, no, hold on. I thought that was
I do
Hunter's
that
Hey, to be
method.
fair, that's everyone's method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's
That's
true.
a flawless
I
strategy.
did that a number of times in Axiom Verge.
Well, there you go.
But
Yeah,
Sean,
don't boot it
can you
up.
tell me what your flawless method is for saying your number 9 game of the last generation?
This is the game that has not been on any of my previous lists, and I've been really upset with myself for not fitting it onto any, and I probably should have. I'm sure somebody's discussed it so far, but I don't remember who or when. But
Rude.
Minute is my number 9. Like obviously, as has been well stated, it's a tight little package.
It's true.
Like just like the perfect. I like a game that's that size, and then it was also the perfect size of Second Quest, and the Second Quest was like appropriately
God, the
hard.
second quest is so good.
It's great.
Mhm.
If they ever make a title, they have to call it Second. Did I say title?
Yeah.
Damn it, sequel. Fuck.
If they
shit,
ever
I
make a
mean,
title, they got to sequel it second. We got you.
But yeah, it's a good game. Tight little package.
I liked it. That's one of those games that I feel like I happened across, and it was like, well, that seems interesting. And then it was on sale for like $5 or so. I'm like, all right, I'll check that out. It seems interesting, and it whipped all kinds of ass. Like,
Yeah, I remember like
Yeah.
Ryan texted me about it. He's just like, hey, because we share our Xbox games, and he's like, hey, just go download this and go fucking play it. And I think I like literally just sat there and beat it in one sitting just because I could not put it down.
it's
I
one of
love a
those
game
few
that,
times where like a gimmick came up, and it kind of paid off throughout the game. It didn't
Has
overstay its
no
welcome.
reason to work
yeah.
as well as it does.
Yeah.
It's I love any piece of media that although not exclusively, I've got some real long slow slogs in here, but I love a piece of media that uses its time effectively.
Yeah.
And that's one that you know what the whole deal is, obviously within a minute or so of playing.
I just
Yeah,
wish
and it
was
never gets
longer.
repetitive.
One
What'd you
might
say,
say
Hunter?
that it is slightly better than Cuphead and slightly worse than The Quiet Man.
Oh my god.
I said I just wish it was longer because it's only a minute long.
That's true. I played
We
one
said tight
life and
little
then
package.
stopped playing it.
That's the
Well,
whole
he-
game.
He died. What's he supposed to do?
Jason, you are going to have longer than 60 seconds to tell me your number 9.
Well, I don't need that. That's a lot of time. So this was very much the generation of the Battle Royale because a new one came out every week, I
Fortnite.
feel like.
Mhm.
It's definitely not Fortnite. That game's for dumb babies.
Jason
Definitely
fucking
Fortnite.
loves.
Hey, but Kratos is in it.
And
That's
in
true.
my opinion, the overall most enjoyable Battle Royale is Warzone. I think it does everything right. It has Call of Duty mechanics, which I'm very comfortable with. I've played those games for 15 years at this point. But I think it does enough to change the mechanics to feel good and not just feel like you're doing a 100-person Call of Duty game. Like, you have a little more life. You have pickups of all your weapons and gear, which is not a standard thing in Call of Duty games. That was a nice change. And there's no fall damage because you have parachutes, so that's awesome. It's a good game.
I like Warzone a remarkable amount simply because I am devastated at their ability to like analyze the flow of a battle royale game and then just perfect the formula into what they made. How they have the early looting phase, they have the mid game like kind of gearing phase, and then they have the end game shooting phase, and they have like it is so remarkably well designed. I cannot believe that the like anyone at a Call of Duty studio could design something so remarkably like well done.
Too bad you can't fit all that design on a hard drive.
That is true. It is. I think it is taking up like 100 gigs or so on my
Yeah.
PlayStation.
I
Yeah,
haven't
it is
played it because I
ridiculous.
can't physically clear off enough room on my hard drive to play it.
And I installed the additional 20 gig high res texture pack.
Is it still free?
Yeah, it's still free.
Yeah.
Even with the
Did
release
it-
of the new Call of Duty, it's still free.
Does it have cross-platform?
Yes,
Yes.
Maybe I now should try it.
I would
Doesn't
love to
have-
play. I mean, it's fucking
Yeah.
Good shit.
It's been a long
fantastic.
time since I've hammed.
Now that I've
Doesn't it
removed
have,
Microsoft Flight Simulator, I have room for it.
Like
It's got cross saves too, right?
yeah, like I was able
Yeah.
to. I've been playing on Xbox One the entire time, but when I downloaded on my PS5, I booted up and I just have all my shit still, which I did
Damn.
not expect them to do.
That's
Which
cool.
I unlocked a really good character that I like a whole lot. His name's Yegor. I love
Yes.
him. He's horrible. He's just a horrible man.
I've been meaning to get back in, and I have a pretty extensive backlog of things I'm trying to get through before
Same.
I grind out 8-hour shifts on Warzone.
But since they're doing since again it's the same, they're just gonna have this alongside what seems like all the future Call of Duties. Like I'm fucking down for it, and just
Yeah.
it helps it incredibly that like PUBG never fixed itself. Like there was a market within our particular friend group to get a better battle royale, and
PUBG kept making itself worse.
it is unbelievable. I really am just blown away at like how much it understands the genre and how it has learned from everything that came before it and like made something that is different, well designed, while still being like Call of Duty. Fucking blows me away that they did such a good job with it.
I think this would be a good time
Boy,
for
did they.
just a detour into just battle royales as a whole. Like I feel like they really caught on this generation, and
And I hate it.
I like it, but like as long as people are doing interesting things with it, like I think Fall Guys is an interesting take on
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Whatever that one was that we played for a day, like Eden Project or something like that.
Oh,
it wasn't
Project
great.
Eden. Yeah, that one
Project
was
Eden-
interesting.
It was in early access, but it was like they were at least trying to do something interesting with it. But it's like when it's just a bunch of people just copying Fortnite and PUBG,
Yeah.
that gets a little annoying. But I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of willing to try out something that has battle royale mechanics in it more so than I am to just hop into a normal multiplayer anymore.
I thought
someone-
Apex Legends did a really good job at being different than everything else. We
Yeah.
guys didn't get hooked on it.
Applying the hero shooter. My issue with Apex is forcing it to be into squads of 3.
Yeah, that was the big
Um,
issue. Is like we didn't want to play with randoms, and if there were 4 of us, we just played PUBG.
Yeah, but it's like I think the hero, like applying hero shooter to battle royale works really well. Like I like battle royales fundamentally because I love roguelikes so much, and I'll like much like I will try any roguelike once. I'll fucking queue up any battle royale at least once.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that the battle royale being the current thing is going to still go for a couple more years, or is it on its way out?
I think it's on its way out, and I think the thing that's going to come up now is Among Us clones, or like that
for sure.
that social deception type thing. Like I don't want to quite say faking it fully, but like I think that
Kind of.
that's going to be the thing. But I don't think that battle
They'll
royale is
probably
like on its way out. Like Fortnite still pulls
Yeah,
crazy numbers.
I was gonna say, I
Warzone
don't
pulls
think-
crazy numbers.
Right. I guess I meant
don't
in,
think
in
they're-
terms
I
of
don't
like
think they're
people
gonna-
imitating it. You know,
yeah,
Or not imitating.
that's what I was gonna say. I don't think they're gonna come out as often as they have over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But I think the ones that are successful are going to keep getting bigger. Like
Yeah.
Fortnite's consistently growing.
Like I
Mhm.
think Fall Guys is probably the last big battle royale to come out. Probably.
I think so. But I think the
It's
Among
it's
Us
another
prediction
thing, which is cool.
is a good take.
It's-
Like
it's
I
like
bet Call of
buy
Duty
that.
comes out with some sort of
'Cause,
like
um,
spy versus spy mode kind of thing.
What's that other one? Phantasmophobia just came out recently, and it's
Yeah.
doing crazy numbers. And it's that,
Oh, is
other,
that the
like,
ghost
social, like
That's
social
just
ghost hunting type
Phasmophobia.
thing. Phasmophobia. Yeah, sorry. It's
Phantasmophobia
fun.
sounds more like a magic trick thing.
I absolutely not play Phasmophobia ever.
But
I like, even though it's goofy ass looking, that shit scares me so much.
I think
I
it's just like
watched it- I
the
watched a little bit of it.
communication oriented multiplayer thing. I really think that's about to maybe take off in a major way. But I mean, we'll fucking see.
Yeah.
After that detour, Hunter, what is your number 9?
It's Control.
Wow, this high.
And now we're going to control the conversation back into Ryan's number 8.
Oh, that was all you had to say.
Wait, you're not going to talk
Control?
about Control.
I mean, he
We've
knows
talked
it's
about
coming
it
up again.
endlessly. And yeah, we're going to
It's gonna
talk
be
about
on
it
a few
again.
more lists, I assume. At least me.
We'll
and
just have to
Stephen.
decide when people want to jump in and talk about it.
Yeah.
What are we on? 8?
Number 8.
Mine is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
Some would say it's the 10th best game of the generation.
Some might say it's the 89th best game of the generation. See, Jason, it's fun. You see why I do it now.
Who would
I
say
don't-
these things?
I don't get to overlap with people very often.
It's just a really good update to a series that similar to like Doom and stuff. Like I think these series deserve updates, and they happen to make just the second best first person shooter of the generation. And they're fantastic. That whole series. Like I'm often kind of going back and forth between whether I like the Wolfensteins or the Dooms more. Like Doom is a little bit more fun to play, but the Wolfensteins have just so much character to them that like it's fun to just like go in and hang out.
Have a story.
Yeah,
Hey, Doom's got a
go
story.
in and hang out with your buddy Beej and Caroline. And
I think Wolfenstein
Bash.
2 had a great story. Doom doesn't have a story; it just has dope monsters and guns and explosions.
Yeah,
I'm
Doom
really
has a
hoping
premise.
I'm really hoping that Wolfenstein 3, whatever the next one is, can nail it and not young blooded up.
just don't make it a multiplayer shooter.
But everybody loves multiplayer shooter.
Okay, so what if it's a battle royale? 100 BJs are dropped into an island and have to kill one Mecha Hitler.
What if it's
You
an
had me at
Among
100
Us, like-
BJs.
They all say count to 4, inhale at the same time.
Count to 4, where are we dropping? Lend me your wings, Caroline, where are we dropping?
Count to 4.
That's what
Thank
you don't
the
have
bus
parachutes.
driver.
You just have Caroline's wings as you go back to Earth.
Really, like of all the lines we could have latched onto from that game, we took that one.
That's the one they latched onto. They did it for like 2 hours.
But like not as a joke, like very earnest, like straight faced.
Wolfenstein has very weird things played straight faced, and I love it.
Yeah,
Wolfenstein's
they do.
fantastic.
It's got like tonal whiplash, but in such a fun way.
I distinctly remember when the first of the new Wolfensteins came out. I got the Xbox 360 version on 4
Yep.
motherfucking discs.
Yep.
I took it over to Hunter's house, and we were all convinced it would be so shitty. But I was like, nah, I just need to fucking try it. And then off to the fucking races.
Yeah, I don't remember if I played it first or you played it first.
I took it home the day of release.
Okay.
so
I think
know
I
that.
did too.
Or I took it to
I-
Hunter's house day of release.
I feel like I didn't play all the way through it the first time because my disc froze at the end of like a really long segment, and it auto saved at the beginning of a really long segment, and I was like, fuck this, because the game had frozen like 2 times before that. I'm like, I'm not going to deal with this Batman Arkham Origins bullshit. So I didn't play it for a really long time, and then finally played all the way through. This is the New Order, the original one,
Yeah.
and they just kick ass. Like I'll buy anything Wolfenstein now. My dumb ass played through Youngblood solo.
I would still like to play Cyberpilot just to try it.
Yeah.
Now for something completely different.
Dash Cyber Pilot Us onto your choice for number 8.
My number 8 is a game who every single game of the year I tried to bring up and give it its own category, and every year it was shot
The
down.
Division 2.
No, that's not my bid.
That's for the most divisive game.
Yes,
I
I
bet
know. It's its own
is
category.
for the greatest Shovel Knight of 2015 through 2020 is my number
Light
8.
of Shadows.
Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is fucking amazing.
Good game.
It's
shovelware.
it's fucking
Got it.
so goddamn good. It is one of, I won't call it the greatest 2D platformer ever made, but it's in the conversation.
It's up there.
Top 5 at the very least.
And I haven't
Um,
gone through and played any of the expansions for it, but it's like if they're even half as good as the mainline Shovel
They're
Knight
not,
game,
but
bummer.
they're
Yeah,
not. King of Cards is good. King of Cards is great, and then Spectre of Torment is okay. Plague of Shadows fucking sucks shit.
Dash just
Um,
video games.
fucking hate Plague of Shadows. Jesus Christ, it sucks. But Shovel Knight, it is fantastic. It is a absolute must play for anyone who likes 2D platformers. You can more or less skip the 3 expansion ones or play them. Those don't. None of them are even remotely close to as good as Shovel Knight.
Hmm.
And I think it is fucking phenomenal how much they nailed it relatively out of the gate. I mean, I know it's a lot of like X-Way Forward people. I read the book on Shovel Knight and it was really, really good. But the fact that that was Yacht Club's first game, and now they have to now follow Shovel Knight for whatever they end up releasing next, which I still stand by. I would love it to be Super Shovel Knight, but we'll fucking see. Everyone should play Shovel Knight. It is one of the best video games ever made.
You should only play King of Cards exclusively for Joustus.
They somehow, like, their shitty card game is still kind of okay.
It's not. It's really
kind
bad.
of- It's really badly balanced, but it's kind of okay.
The
Didn't
only
they
good
they
part,
did like a sequel or something that's coming up. What was that?
They did Shovel Knight Dig. Is that a
Yeah.
game? Did I
Yeah,
imagine that?
something like that?
But it's not them doing it. It's just like it's someone else making it, and then also Shovel Knight's appeared in like 8 other indie games at this
Yeah,
point.
he was in Pukalele.
He shows up
Uh,
everywhere.
Hey,
He's next
Shovel
in
Knight on the
Smash.
DS.
Hey,
the
yeah,
only good part of Joustus is that you you duel 3 dogs, and when you beat them, somebody says, "Well, the rules don't say dogs can't play Joustus, so we just let them play."
King of Cards is good. King
More
of Cards is
Airbud
good shit.
references, please.
But Matt, go ahead and hit me with your number 8.
My number 8 is following with a theme. It's Goose Game.
It's a good game.
It was my game of the year last year, and some might say it's the 8th best game of the generation.
It barely didn't crack my top 10. I think I've got it sitting at 12.
If you would say maybe 108th the best game of the generation, I could back you the fuck up.
I would not, but
So-
that's fine.
Goose Game was one of those things that like the idea of it was really funny when they first were kind of like, hey, we're making this game about you be like an asshole goose. And I was like, that sounds funny. That's a funny idea, but I thought it was going to end up like Cat Lateral Damage, where it's kind of like this dumb little like thing, and I thought it was going to suck, but then they figured out how to do it well, kind of in like the Minute style, where it's like this gimmick shouldn't work, but it's there for just long enough that it works out. It's a cool little puzzle game. It's really fun to be an asshole.
As it turns out,
And compared to like
I
Rick and
reveal-
Morty,
Reacts really well.
like I think Goat Simulator
What?
is something that it easily could have like turned out like, and
Oh,
then
God,
I'm
it
so
just
glad it
fucking
didn't.
nailed it.
Mhm.
The Goat Simulator was fun for an hour.
Hey,
Pretty
guess what?
much.
So's Goose Game.
One of the
It's only about an hour
lamest-
long. Yeah.
One of the lamest, most embarrassing things about me. So I've now tried to play Goose Game
One
twice.
of.
I don't like being mean to the gardener. It makes me feel
you're
bad.
such a bitch.
I know.
It's really funny that that's where you draw the line because you don't even make it to the part of the game where you're in it.
Well, now I'm definitely. I can't be cursed with this knowledge.
He happens right after the gardener.
Oh.
Right after.
And the fact that I was able to say that and the fucking 4 other people knew exactly who I was talking about.
No, I know you sent me pictures. I think other people did
Falls in a
too, not
puddle.
in this group.
But it's fun. And I also
Yeah.
I bonded with like my fiance over it. We sat down and played it. We tried to figure out puzzles with each other, just kind of trading the remote back and forth, the paddles, the controller, whatever you want to call them,
The remote.
the flight
spinner.
stick.
The sticks, the rock.
Yeah, and then we even went through and did like the speed run mode, where it's like I don't really do extra modes or extra game modes. I'm not much of like a new game plus kind of guy or mess around with stuff like that. And we were just like, yeah, fuck it, we're playing this thing.
I mean,
It-
yeah, I knew nothing about it really. You guys had talked about it a little bit. I think it popped up on Game Pass.
Yeah,
Like
they put
a
it on
year
Game Pass.
ago, a little over a year ago, and I just I downloaded it after work one day, sat down at like, I don't know, 8 o'clock to play like 15 minutes of it, and then go to bed, and then I played the whole game without moving, and then immediately
How'd
the
you
next
play it,
day.
though?
The fucking power of taking the bell back to your little goose home and dropping it onto the pile of bells is such a
It's so good.
powerful statement.
Well,
I-
realizing that's what you were doing, like halfway through finishing that last part,
Yeah.
if you had gone to see the bells beforehand.
Hmm.
I went back that way, but I didn't remember it long enough into the game, so that when it was just great. I like
It clicked with me as I was running back with the bell. Like I was almost back to the very beginning. And I remembered that part.
It's one of those games that I have shown people who don't give a fuck about video games. Like I've shown my mom the Goose Game. I've shown my dad the Goose Game. Like there was when we were going to an office and I would have my Switch in there. There was a time where like me and like half of the development team just sat there and played through Goose Game in one sitting. And like various other staff members would like walk by and see it and just be like, "Wait, what do you do in this game?" And you're just like, "Nah, you're just a goose and you fuck with people." And like they were just like, "Huh, okay, cool." Like it has that just I want to show everyone this thing forever.
Rake in the lake.
Rake in the lake, fucking baby. Rake in the lake. Fucking when we
what else needs to be said?
When me and the devs were fucking playing and we grabbed the lake and we were like dragging it back there and then we started chanting "Rake in the lake, rake in the lake," and then we got it in there and then we just fucking cheered. It was great. Goose Game's great.
And they somehow hit on something that's just like universally relatable. It's just like, yeah, geese are assholes.
And geese suck.
Don't you want to be an asshole? And you're like, I do, unless I'm Sean.
Gardeners are nerds.
It's escapism, Sean. We're not actually assholes, you fucking idiot.
I know. I'm
yeah, Sean, you're wrong.
I can't escape with that game.
Sean, what is your number 8 game where you don't see yourself in it?
So I see myself in this one as Jeremy, as Germ in Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods, I've talked about it so much. There's not really much more for me to say, but it's a game that like I at first got impatient with, and then once I learned to just like live in it through the middle portion of the game, it really, really sucked me in. I think it like builds a little world so well, and it's just like there's a lot of games where I will find myself just like talking to everybody to feel like I did it, but then like clicking through all the text. This was not that. This is one where I was like, I wonder what so and so has to say today.
Yeah, like Night in the Woods and Control both. It's like I like reading all of the side stuff just to enrich myself and my understanding of the world. I think it's wild that you identify with Germ and not Angus, but I can just scroll past that.
No, I'm probably Angus.
Night in the Woods is really fucking
I think
good.
it would be more grammatically correct if it was Angus, because Anne usually goes before vowels.
And what more needs to be said about this game?
Yeah, everyone should play Night in the Woods. Like
I really want to finish it. I think I made it through like the first night, which was just like returning home. And then it was just something I booted up really quickly, and I was just kind of like, I'm not in the mood for this right now.
I think it's really unfortunate, a lot of the stuff surrounding one of the developers of that game, and it also probably means that we'll never get another one of them, but I'm also not sure it needs a sequel or anything else. But I would have liked to see that team come together to do like another one of those.
I'm really eager to see what like Scott Benson and Bethany Hockenberry are like doing with their new studio. That'll be neat. Got some new game coming. So same art style, same writing.
I will fuck with that. I got to see the Finji booth when I went to PAX. It was pretty neat. They had a bunch of Night in the Woods shit there.
God, I forgot they went to PAX.
It was right next to fucking PAX in February of 2020.
Oh my god, that was this year?
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
My honeymoon. It was right next to the Vlambeer booth though, so I spent all of my time at a different booth. But Jason, what is your number 8?
So my number 8 is the first of 2 times on my list where I cheated. It's 2 games, but I think it's fair because they're the exact same thing. And I couldn't just say one is really better than the other, but it's Overcooked 1 and 2.
Yeah, fuck it. I think I did the same thing on my list.
They're the same shit. 2 changes like what one thing you can throw stuff. Like better.
It's a game changer though.
I mean it is, but I mean they're both great games. They're just I wish it was a game that was fun to play with 1 or 2 people, but it just isn't. And that's like the only reason I haven't like finished either of them, because I'm not gonna sit and play them by myself because it just isn't fun. It gets really stressful really fast.
Oh, you changed the order, Sean. Way to fucking go, buddy.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
They also
He's just leaving.
He's got to jerk off.
A goose is gonna tie his fucking shoes.
He doesn't want us to be scared by what's her out, Coilette.
Oh yeah.
Toilet.
With
I-
Overcooked, you can play it 2 players, but it does eventually get to a point where it's
It gets-
really hard to
Yeah,
progress.
it gets
Mhm.
really hard. Like
It's like right around the halfway point.
I've done 2-player, like a decent chunk of maybe like the first quarter, first third or something, and it gets really, really, really hard. A lot faster than you want it to.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
it's not nearly as bad if you have 3 or 4 people. It stays playable a lot longer.
Yeah, and that's another one of those games that maybe even has kind of led that communication-based multiplayer thing.
Yeah, like I definitely think that it's in the same vein. Those are getting ported to like the new consoles as well as like a combo pack single game. When I was going through the top 150 games, one thing I really kind of found myself wishing that we had done is a top 5 party games of the previous generation, because I feel like our group specifically, there was a period of time there where we were doing like what is the weekly party game. Like I was just fucking buying anything that comes out. It's like, hey, let's just fucking try this one night. And obviously some stuck better than others, like Gang Beast Crawl. There was that one night of Overcooked that I largely missed out on, but still.
And then you bought Mario Party on the Wii U.
I did not buy that game.
No, I think that was Zane.
Oh, it
Or he was
sucked.
borrowing it from.
No, I rented Mario. I brought Mario Party from GameStop one
Oh,
night,
okay.
but
Yeah,
I
it
did
sucked.
not buy that game. Yeah, that
No,
game fucking
Dash bought
sucked.
Amiibo Party is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I've
Also,
never-
We Party U, which is great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think that would have been a fun category because there were so many really good party games that came out, and Overcooked certainly one of the greats. I don't think Sean's back like a fucking loser, but Hunter, if you want to go ahead and hit me with your number 8.
Can't believe Sean's dead. My number 8 is the Pope's favorite video game. It's Undertale.
One might call it the 9th best game of the generation.
The Pope one, he would call it the number 1.
How many games do you think the Pope played this generation?
You know the Pope's a gamer.
We need
He
a
is. He
gamer
played
in the
Undertale.
Vatican.
Gamer
Do you think
Pope,
he has like a
Gamer Pope,
bulletproof gamer
Pope.
chair?
Okay, the real question: do you think that Pope has worn gunners?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Do you think the Pope drinks G Fuel?
I think
Union wine.
He uses it as holy water.
Baptize him in Mountain Dew.
Only
Yeah,
Baja
Undertale,
Blast.
good game.
Yeah, Undertale, fucking-tastic game. Beautiful work of art.
Work of fart.
Brian, I can't believe you would say that.
Bow, 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 woo!
You
Got
killed
him.
Dash.
I know. Can't believe Dash is dead.
It happens.
Speaking of which, why don't you
Um,
kill us with your number 7?
Yeah, kill me with your number 7. Lucky number 11.
It's a game that we haven't really talked about that much, which I'm surprised. Because I know everyone played it, but no one really said too much about it. It's Control.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember playing that one?
Small indie
No.
hit
Vaguely.
Control.
Never heard of it.
I mean, I think I booted it up once or twice, but
Hey, it's free on
Uh,
Game Pass now.
A lot's been said about it, but it's got a really cool art style, really cool story. It's really nice to see weird shit in a like AAA package, because I mean I spend a lot of time playing indie stuff. That's kind of mostly what I lean towards, but sometimes it's nice to just kind of hop into like a AAA large scale, really nice looking game that apparently worries about ray tracing and shit like that. But like this has to be one of my favorites of something big like that.
I think that like Control, it's one of those games that just don't get like the art of the double A game is
Yeah.
lost this generation, just because games are at the point where they cost so much money to make that you're either a full-on AAA game or you're an indie, and I just the few tiny ones that squeak through are usually end up just being kind of like okay, like your Recores, things like that.
I think we had a decent amount of I imagine it'd be double A, but it's like indie games that were triple A. They had a name for it, but it's like what Hellblade was. It's what Control is.
Oh, garbage.
I think they called those double A's, but it's like I feel like the two that they did that at least I'm aware of turned out pretty well.
I
I
feel
like
like we-
Control a hell of a lot more than Hellblade, but
We like affectionately refer to them as like this is a PS2 ass game, but
Yeah.
like that is almost only usually a good thing.
mhm.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like
Control. I
the
really think
Yakuza
everyone should
games
play
kind
it.
of have that same like level of production where it's like this is a major studio doing these, but like they're definitely not like big ass AAA games.
Mhm.
Yeah, Control is fucking great. Would you recommend? Okay, here's talking about. Would you recommend Control to a 13-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Only if she's got an
Because
alien.
like you were
Hobbs.
talking about it earlier, and like I realize it's rated M, but I'm trying to remember if there's anything like super.
When he
There's-
asked me about it, I went and pulled up the ESRB, and it's rated M for blood, strong language, and violence.
Yeah, it's nothing like crazy in my opinion. I don't think
At least
there's
not
any
in
problem
America.
playing it.
Yeah, I would say
But
only
I
like
could
the.
see people like not getting parts of it. It's like what we mentioned earlier.
I would say like
Yeah.
the thing that happens at the very beginning is probably like the only thing that's like. Violent,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
But I
like
mean-
that. Doing psychokinesis, sick ass throws and shit is cool, and that's a universal language.
Yeah, and the
And
stuff that's
flying
possessed by
around.
the hiss is like, I don't know, it's monstrous enough that it doesn't track as like you're killing people.
Yeah, 'cause
and
it's like
they
they're
bleed
humans,
mist or
But they
like,
say like up front, like yeah, at this point you can't save them; they're monsters at this point.
I mean,
Hand
the
wave
range
that.
of games that fall into the M category is pretty drastic. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't put Control in the same vein as any Grand Theft Auto game.
like
Yeah.
I feel like Control and Dark
Absolutely.
Souls are both like M technically.
Right.
M cause blood.
Yeah, M
Yeah,
because
pretty
you
much.
kill stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Control, pretty fucking good thing.
be good.
Speaking of killing it, hey Sean, what's your number 8? Since you weren't here.
Sean said
Yeah,
his number 8.
Yeah, it
Oh, did
was
he? Oh,
Yeah,
Jason's turn.
then
Yeah,
but he turned
never
he turned his camera off and it made him go after Jason now.
Well, okay.
Oh. Okay.
Oh god.
Are we
Jason.
actually switching the order up, or are we going to keep it?
I mean, yeah, we're gonna go to now. It's gonna go Jason and then Sean.
Okay, sliding
Right,
Sean around.
Okay.
My number 7 is a game that got brought up, but we didn't really talk about much about how much this game just truly whips ass. I think that when you have a long running video game franchise that's run for, let's say, maybe 35 years, the idea that you can make a new one that is the best one, I think, is insanely impressive. Super Mario Odyssey
Huh.
is debatably the best 3D platformer ever made.
I'm offended at how low it is on your list.
Number 7. I mean, these are some heavy fucking hitters ahead of it. Like, I love Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey it's fantastic. It is a fucking tour de force of 3D platforming. Everything it does so well. It is a goddamn masterpiece. It is one of the best Nintendo games ever made, and it's certainly a lot better than the fucking Zelda game that came out the same year as it. Not even fucking close. I love Mario Odyssey, but I think my biggest complaint about it is I can never play it for the first time again. I can never.
I can.
Its replayability
Got 'em.
is worse than the other Mario games just because of its open nature. It's like I can get in there and I can do stuff with it, but it's never gonna be that first run good again.
You're never gonna find the dedicated sunglasses button for the first time again.
Yeah, it's like that game's just it much like I would say Breath of the Wild. I want every single Mario game to be like this forever. It's just they somehow reinvented Mario, and it blows my mind that they were able to do that. And I think that a lot of it, and I've spoken to this a lot of times, the people who made Mario Odyssey are the people who have grown up playing Mario. It is a love letter to this thing being worked on by fans as opposed to the creators. There's a reverence to Mario in it that the creator of something could never put in their own game. Just between the music, just the little touches, the 8-bit sections, like even the Sonic the Hedgehog ass ending, I'm here for all of it.
Running around. at the
I
speed of
think-
sound.
I think that game never gets really as hard as I would like it to get, but these are like, I'm reaching for complaints about this game. It's
I think going for
Moons are
completion.
smaller than stars.
There's
That's a complaint.
there's some real hard ones going for completion. I feel like the
play
one where you race
3D
against it
World
falling.
when it comes out on Switch, Sean.
We'll see.
I can't wait.
It's 3D World makes that game look like fucking baby mode bullshit. But yeah, Mario Odyssey is fucking phenomenal. It's so fucking good. It's one of the most joyous things. Like I will invoke that fucking Ratatouille ass dude like eating the soup, where it takes him back and you feel like a kid again playing it. Like it's
He's not
just
eating
fun.
soup. He's eating ratatouille.
He's eating Remy.
No.
No,
I
his
think he
name's
watched different
Ratatouille.
movies. Yeah, Ratatouille, the guy, the main character, the guy.
I don't know who
Yeah.
Remy is.
Lemmy's the lead singer of Motorhead.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
You got to do
but
it
yeah,
upside down.
He's that guy from Brutal Legend.
the Kill Master. But yeah, Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece, and you go on top of the castle, and then Yoshi's there, and then you become Yoshi. It's fucking.
What if they made a game?
What if you could
where
stack a bunch of
Yoshi-
Goombas on top of each other, and then you
And
could be the
them.
Goombas?
It's just like my fantasies.
and then you get a girlfriend because
I
you're
mean, I
Yeah,
mentioned
and then
it-
they get a girlfriend.
I mentioned it
Return
before,
is
but
Only the
the
top one.
the
Just turn it
999 moons reward is perfect in that there's just a hat on top of the castle.
Tropical Wiggler Wednesday, Sean. Fucking Mario Odyssey is so good. I wish I could delete that game. Like that is in the like top 3 games I wish I could delete from my brain and play.
Yeah, I wish I could delete it from my brain too.
No, you
Wish
can't.
I could delete it
You
from
cannot
your
rain onto
brain.
my parade about this one, Sean. It's too good.
Matt,
of a
what game do you wish you could delete from Dash's brain?
So aside from the first 3, the rest of my list is basically just games that I spent a ton of time with. And my number
That's
7 is a
okay.
game that I didn't know that I wanted, and it wasn't something that I was planning on buying at all, and then I bought it day one, and that game was Pokemon Let's Go.
Hell yeah, dog.
Like I
Matt's our Pokemon guy.
didn't want a Generation 1 Pokemon game. I didn't want that Pokemon Go ass shit that they put in it. But I bought it the day it came out. I took my Switch to work with me, and I just played it at my desk all day while I was making calls. And it's just phenomenal. I beat the story. I spent a ton of time shiny hunting because it's super easy in that game. And as I've been sitting here looking at my list, I think I want to boot it up again and just
Yeah, I think I said it when it got
phenomenal.
brought up previously. I don't ever want to play Generation 1 Pokemon games any other way. And I would actually go so far as to say I don't want to play Pokemon games any other way. The way
It's
that that game is
fantastic.
able to look at like what are the core pillars of Pokemon and then just go, yeah, well, what if fuck that? That's fucking anti-game design. Like we don't fucking need that anymore. Like
Right.
what if just fuck that? What if we just made this smoother and fun? Like, what if you just didn't have to grind like that? What if it was just fun? What if your Pokemon followed behind you? What if you rode on Snorlax's belly? What if you could
Yeah.
fucking fly around on your Charizard? Like, that is one of the purest, that's what Pokemon should be.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
I'm still holding out for Let's Go Johto.
I will come all over a Heracross as he walks behind me.
Ew.
They
And
added that in Let's Go. That's the only reason they like it.
And really,
They
that's the
made
most
it hot glue button.
And that's maybe the most damning thing about that game is that you only have access to the original 150.
The only
Like-
good ones.
But if
And Melmetal.
and Malmetal,
And Marshadow, isn't Marshadow on that one?
yeah,
No.
are they? I don't think so.
No.
I don't-
Yeah, I think
I
it's
don't play
only. They're so fucking good. Mr. Jason, what is your number 7?
Let's
So-
go to your number 7.
Let's go to the polls and vote on your number 7.
In
I don't know that.
Sean, stop picking crap out of your teeth.
Sorry, I broke my tooth.
Oi, what did you do?
It hurts. Sorry.
I'm watching Sean now.
Everyone, let's look at Sean's teeth. He just went to the dentist.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Sean for. Anyways,
Where's your
Jason.
filling?
Okay, so my number 7. So back in old March and April of the year 2020, 2 things were the most talked about things on the planet: Tiger King and Animal Crossing.
Ah.
That game, I'm pretty sure.
Not coronavirus.
They made a
Carol
Tiger King
Baskins was in the
game?
news today.
I think everybody played Animal Crossing. I
thought you were talking about the Tiger King video game. Okay, Animal Crossing, sure.
Yeah, I guess we can talk
I
about
don't,
it.
I don't know how many people I know that bought a Switch just to play Animal Crossing.
Sean.
Sean's bought 2 Switches since then.
Melissa bought one.
We specifically bought the Animal Crossing one.
My sister bought a Switch just to play Animal Crossing. She probably hasn't owned a video game console since we were children.
I mean, it was a really like uniting game as well. Like I
Yeah.
watched a lot of like live streams of museums that were doing like a marine biology museum was doing like, hey, we're going to walk through and like look at the fish and give you like an actual tour, but they're walking through Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I mean, its timing was absurd. Like, that game came out and showed up in the mail the day after I got sent home from work to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
It was right when we all needed something to
Yeah,
do.
so then, I mean,
Yeah,
especially back
exactly.
then, like, work was slow. I was probably playing Animal Crossing, sitting at my computer for 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that stayed consistent for like 2 months until I just dropped it out of nowhere. I think we all
I haven't
kinda
booted
dropped
it up
around the
since.
same time.
That game has sold 26 million copies in fucking 9 months.
That's
Yeah. But,
nothing.
even if I never turn that game on again, which I'm sure I will at some point, but even if I never turn that game on again, like, the amount that I played it and the amount that, like, it was the main topic of discussion between all of us for 2 months basically, it almost ended up a little higher on my list, but the fact that it was a short-lived thing made it fall a little lower. But I mean, all of us played it.
Pizza's still getting on it every day.
It
Every
blows
day.
my fucking mind.
Yeah, it blows my fucking mind too, but here we are. Yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizons, it is the best Animal Crossing game. It's madly fucking good.
I mean, yeah, it did a lot of things better than I haven't played every Animal Crossing. I played GameCube and New Leaf. I think those are the only 2.
I think I prefer New
previously
Leaf,
played.
but
I think I liked New Leaf, but I didn't play it as much as GameCube, just because being a little kid and having nothing better to do.
Yeah, like I'll never play another Animal Crossing as much as I played the GameCube one because I also didn't understand how to break Animal Crossing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. Tricks didn't exist in the first one that existed in New.
No, that serial's been around for a long time.
Second best selling Switch game of all time.
What's the first?
Mario Kart, which will probably always be the best selling Switch game.
Because it was a pack-in.
It's not only a pack-in, but its attach rate even outside of that is fucking insane.
Mario Kart's good shit.
Mario Kart's great and also wide appeal, but it has a considerable sales lead over Smash Brothers Ultimate.
And Mario Kart 8 is, I think, the best Mario Kart.
Yeah, easily, without question.
It also has like a 3-year head start.
Yeah, also has a massive head start up. Yeah, Animal Crossing, pretty fucking good game, and a good game for this particular year.
Where did it fall in your 150?
PFGG.
Forgot about it.
Wow.
That's how good it was.
Song of the Deep is better than
Yeah, so Song of the Deep is a better game than Animal Crossing New Horizons. You heard it here first.
Feels
folks.
like blasphemy.
Sean, what is name a game that you think is better than Song of the Deep?
Well, let me read my entire list. My number 7 was also on my worst of the generation list, and that is PUBG. It truly spans the gamut. I had so much fun playing PUBG, and I still will stick up for the PC
So
version.
did I.
Me too.
I think I got all of the battle royale that I'll ever want out of it. Like, even when it died, I was like, well, I'm done. I just felt kind of good. Got it out of my system, but it was great. Just like, nothing will feel better in life than when Pizza and I got a duo chicken dinner when I had the crossbow as a joke and got the final kill with it.
As much as I like Warzone doesn't have anything as cathartically stupid as Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. And it also doesn't have anything in it that's as powerful as the Goth Coat. It doesn't have anything as cool as a Wizard House. It doesn't have anything as brutal or scarce as 5.56 ammo before they patched it.
So what you're telling me is that Call of Duty is soulless and PUBG has soul.
I mean,
Yeah.
I won't go so far
Warzone
as to
doesn't
call
have any
Warzone
Ronies strung
soulless,
around in.
but like the soul, like PUBG has soul, or it had at least at one point. There's something magical about that time we spent with PUBG. As much as I fucking am in an abusive relationship with that fucking game,
Warzone doesn't have Stalber.
Yeah.
fucking
Or new Stalber.
like PUBG was a moment in time that I will always fondly remember, but also very angrily remember.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever have games of Warzone that I think are as fun as the best games of PUBG. But Warzone is just a straight up
Warzone
game.
functions.
Truly,
Turns
it
out that's
has-
about all you need for your game to survive.
Yeah.
Truly,
Can you
like,
boot it up?
the moments in PUBG, like the peak of it to me is the moments where you think, well, we're done for, and then you manage to scrape it out. And it's a game full of those moments. And
See,
I loved it for that.
And as much as I like winning a game of PUBG, I honestly think my favorite games of PUBG aren't the wins. It's not the close games. It's not the tense games. It's whatever the last game of the night is, where everyone has stopped giving a shit, and it is just we're just
That's
throwing
when
the
you let-
smoke grenades
that's
at
when you
each
let
other.
Jason drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's just like we have stopped giving a shit. We are being as reckless as possible, and we are shooting each other, and we are having fun. And those to me are my favorite PUBG games. And Warzone
Like when
does
you're
not have
the
that.
only fun I ever had on Miramar was getting the lever action and seeing how far I could shoot dash. Like it's like a sniper rifle, and I remember knocking him out with it, and I was like, "Oh, I think I see him over here."
Yeah, like vividly, just adamantly denying that he was the one who shot. It was a fantastic experience.
But it's dead forever. Garbage.
Yeah,
I played
fuck that
one
game.
game and I got second, and I never played it again.
Hell
I do
yeah.
feel like everybody's first game you do inordinately well. Like
Mhm.
me, who's bad at aiming anything on the Xbox, I think I got like sixth the very first time I played.
Still kills me that I didn't get the first solo win.
Who did?
Get good.
Scott, and I got to watch
Ah.
Scott get it, which also that moment or sequence was amazing. Where we just like showed up at Scott's house to like watch a wrestling thing, and he was just having a game, and we were just like we were just so excited, and he fucking got it, and we just cheered
Yeah.
lines. It was so great.
That game was a really like connecting game for us. It's been such a long time, honestly, since almost like Halo 3 for me at
Yeah.
least, where it was like, hey, like I would text somebody, be like, hey, let's get on and play something, and like the whole fucking crew would show up.
And
Similar to
just-
Animal Crossing.
I didn't think that we would ever have a game like that again, where us in our adult lives would have a Halo 3 moment, and it
Yeah.
truly was like that. And
warts and
even
all.
like as much as I like Warzone and all that, Warzone doesn't have that. Like we don't have that.
It's just
That's
a-
because half of our crew doesn't have the hard drive space for it.
Hunter, what is your number 7?
Is it me already?
Yeah.
All right, Sean was PUBG, right? My number 7 is the 7th entry in a game series, and it's Ace Combat 7. Because planes are cool, and if you put a stupid anime story on top of it, they're even cooler somehow.
Yeah. Anime cool. Planes
They made
cool.
Top Gun cooler.
Hell yeah.
Toppest gun.
Ace Combat really is the
Give me motion
toppest gun.
sickness.
Is
I
that
really
the
want
one
to
that
combat
the
hate your
VR
list, Ash.
made Danny puke?
Yeah,
He
almost
didn't
puke.
puke. He
That-
just couldn't move for 10 minutes.
That
Gotcha.
game made me feel weird, and I only played it on like regular TV. I'd never touched the VR version.
Made you feel weird because you just saw those anime titties.
It's like I bought a flight stick for that game, and its VR thing with the flight stick is to die for.
Look,
I
Sean,
can't
there's
wait
no
until the
anime
world's on
titties
fire so I can
in
come over and
7.
try.
I don't think at least, but there
Sorry,
are
Hunter.
there are like Idol Mastered plane skins and some of the other on like 6 and the free to play one.
Ace Combat 7 is in the, or not Ace Combat 7, one of the Ace Combats, the DS one, I think, is in the Mario Encyclopedia because there's a Mario skin you can get for the plane.
Yeah. If you use a Mario amiibo, you get a Mario skin.
Yeah, Ace
I
Combat
keep
7.
putting the Mario amiibo on myself, and I still look the same.
And it's like, I realize
Maybe
that,
one
like,
day, champ.
plain combat games are not like the most like easily accessible things. Like I'm not gonna say that there's like kind of out there is the simulator type stuff, but I really think that Ace Combat 7 is really worth playing by any person with a passing interest in video games.
If
it's
you ever
so
want to
fun.
know about sin lines, Ace Combat 7 is your game.
Oh my god, it's so bad but so great.
You want to go to plane jail?
God, Plain Jail's so fucking good. One might call Ace Combat 7 the 55th best game of the generation. One better than Donut County, one worse than Octodad.
It's me. I'm that one. That's my ranking.
Interesting
100
place for Ace
100 better
Combat
than
7
Animal
to be.
Crossing.
Ace Combat 7 is really fucking fun. But it doesn't compare to being an octopus who is also a dad.
Yeah.
The whole Ace
Also
Combat
being
series.
nestled, like just being nestled between two kind of physics-based comedy games is such a weird little nook for it to be in.
3 worse than Sekiro. But yeah, Ryan, wrapping up this particular episode of our top tens. What is your number 6?
I think this one's actually a good one to wrap up with. I'm sure it'll show up on other people's, probably a little bit higher. But I had to put a little bit of my personal taste into this one, which I kind of flop back and forth on this one. I think this one has a lot of warts, but I recognize how innovative and good of a game this is. And I mean, I still like it. Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It's one of those types of games that I don't really like very much that still held me for longer than any, like I don't really like open world games, held me longer than any of those. And I do keep meaning to jump back into it. And it took me a while to come around to it. But now that I have, I can kind of agree with Dash on keeping it as like, yeah, I would like to see more Zeldas like this.
Like I think that game definitely has a lot of warts to it, but it makes me excited about where they take the sequel. Like
Yeah.
the same way it would be, it's the Link to the Past to the original Legend of Zelda, where it's like, yeah, that game's really cool, but like I want the Breath of the Wild to have its Link to the Past moment. And
Yeah,
I
really
hope the second one does that.
I hope that they don't take the route that most video game companies have taken, where it's just like, how do we improve Breath of the Wild? Well, let's just make it bigger. And it's like, no, that's not better. Like, do something like, and I think that's why I like Breath of the Wild so much compared to a lot of those other games, like your Skyrims or your Fallouts and stuff like that, is it has a big world, but there's stuff to do everywhere, and it's interesting and it's detailed.
And when you find something that's like not even like a big thing that it makes a big deal out of, but it's like a carefully crafted spot.
Honestly, those are
interesting.
more appealing to me. Like just like
Absolutely.
the little tiny touches where you see something and it's like the references, and again reverence to like previous Zelda games when you see those little moments, it's fucking unbelievably good.
Cool game.
Yeah,
Some
Breath
would
of the Wild.
say the 6th best game of the generation.
I look very forward to that next one whenever it ends up coming out. Hopefully 2021, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. My number 6 is, if it's either this or PUBG, for a game that has fucking kicked my teeth in, been busted as fuck, not worked, but kept me coming back over and over and over again because of how fucking good the game is.
Gang Beasts?
the best roguelike ever made. Well, my favorite roguelike. Spelunky is the best one ever made, but my favorite roguelike, it is Nuclear Throne.
More like something
this-
else.
What? Nuclear Throne is so goddamn great. It's so pure. It's so everything that I want a roguelike to be, where it's quick to get in, get out. It's brutally difficult to learn. Like it takes maybe like 15, 16 hours to really like get your grips on how to play the game.
I stopped at 13, and that's probably why I never beat it. I felt like
Yeah,
I hit
there
a
you go.
skill wall in that one, but like
You got to almost the end of the game. Like you got really far in it.
yeah, I just hit a point. I couldn't get past it. I got stuck on the same level every time. But that game is fantastic. That is the most time I've ever put into any sort of roguelike thing.
Like it is challenge. It is brutally like punishing. It is, but also I'm at the point now where I can fucking just play through that game with my eyes closed. But also I will still get tripped up sometimes, and it's that fact that like I'm very confident in my ability to do well, but there's just a little bit of I'm not safe in this game at any time. Anything can always go wrong. And it is my favorite roguelike. It is phenomenal. It is an absolute tour de force. It has flaws in it. Like I don't think it's a perfect game, but it is my favorite. And it's the amount that game was busted as fuck on PlayStation,
Oh
and
my
I still
God.
put 80, 90 hours into it, despite it like literally you would just lose runs because fuck you. It
Because you got
froze.
hit by the wrong bullet on the wrong level.
Yeah, or like the game just
Should have gotten
crashed.
hit by a
Nothing.
bullet.
And
Should
it took
dodge the
Don't get
them
bullet.
hit.
it took them 8 months to fix it.
Their day one patch came out 8 months later.
Yeah, it was. I can't believe that I put as
It
much
was
time into the game,
garbage.
and speak as highly of that game as I do, despite that.
Yeah.
But it's just that motherfucking good.
My only good memory of Nuclear Throne was when we were all over at Dash's, Matt said something about showing off his daily score, and Dash was like, I can beat it. And then
Oh,
he
yeah.
died on the second stage.
Yeah, that still happens. There will be times where I will get on to do my daily, and I'm like, okay, well, let's try to fucking do something, and then first or second level, fuck you. It still happens. You are
And
never
those
safe
are the
in that game.
days. Those are the days that you don't let me know about it.
Yeah, those are the days I don't send
Because
out a
those are the
picture.
days that I don't say anything to you about it either.
And just
So
the entire thing about it, like narratively and thematically, it is a bunch of creatures at the end of the world fighting over being the king of a pile of trash. It is feudal. It is angry. It's a game of when you die and you get frustrated, you don't get like sad and want to stop playing. You get angry and you want to go back in and say, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
In that, like I would compare it to Hotline Miami in that way, where I get in
It's
there
very
and
Hotline
it's just
Miami.
like it is. I want to break shit. I want to get in there. Fuck this game. I'm angry. Like it is. It
Yeah.
is a spiritually hot and angry game, and I love it. It's
Yeah.
so good.
I think the best roguelike is Minesweeper.
Minesweeper is
That's
roguelike.
the sweep like.
No, that's a visitor cleanup detail.
That's a mop like.
Matt, what is your number 6? I know it ain't
my
Nuclear
number
Throne.
6 is Gamer Pope. I mean Undertale.
Jason hasn't played it, so I really hope we are painting the worst conceivable picture of this game.
It's okay. It's okay. I bought it.
Gamer
I-
Pope and Dog Residue.
Yeah.
It's
I
like he
mean,
knows it
Pope's
has good
getting
music.
icky.
He knows the Pope has played it, and that's it.
What more do you need?
Oh
What
my
better
God.
recommendation could you give for a game?
It has skeletons in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say about it. It's phenomenal, and I still boot it up every so often and just play a little bit of it. And I keep telling myself that I'm gonna boot it up eventually and go through all 3 of the runs, but I'm pretty sure I know that I'm not gonna do that.
I got to the final boss of Genocide and
So did I.
found my skill cap.
Yeah,
But
you and me
see,
both, sister.
I want to replay it, but Genocide's a huge slog, so I'm never going to replay it.
See, I also don't think
felt
genocide
bad.
is the way to
Caught
play
up.
that game. Like, I think the genocide is that's a cool thing that exists, but that's not how to play that game.
No.
No, it's absolutely not. But
Right. It
you
had
have
to be
do
in
it if you
there
want to get
to-
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
one of those. It's
I
just one of the
mean-
many things that elevates that game to being so fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, can't
Same.
recommend it
I've got
enough.
my handmade version of it around here somewhere.
Heyo.
Should get that
Shout
on
out to the annoying dog.
I think I've got a copy on Switch. I should run through Undertale again. When Jason boots that game up, I'll probably boot it up also and just go through it.
I mean, yeah. I have
Jason.
that. I have it on Switch and I have it on Steam.
That will probably be like an early 2021 endeavor.
What
That's
is a game
perfect for the
that you
timeline.
have played through and you would
Where
call
are
the
we?
sixth?
6? Okay. So my number 6, I think it was definitely my top 2 of 2019. I don't think it was my number 1,
Rage.
but it was in fact Rage 2. I don't know why I like this game so much.
You just like pink a lot.
Yeah, but like historically, I don't do side missions, side quests, side content almost at all, except for in like a Fallout or Skyrim kind of game. Like I usually am just like I'll do the main story, and if that's like 20 hours, that's good. I'll do like 2 side missions throughout the entire game. This game, like I'm confident that you could beat Rage 2 in like 5 hours.
Oh,
that
yeah.
game's short as fuck.
Yeah.
Unless you do
And
the side stuff.
Right, like I think
Same
you
with
could
Spider-Man.
just point A to point B, finish that game in 5 hours, which seems just really weird for a like big name publisher like $60 game. But I probably put in 40 hours into that game, which is like completely outside of my normal video game habits. Like
How was your paycheck for that week?
I usually won't buy a game if it says it's gonna be 40 hours long, because I know I won't ever finish it. And like this game, I kept being like, oh, I'm on the way to a main storyline mission. Oh, there's a hideout. I'm gonna spend 30 minutes killing every single person in there. Oh, there's
Yeah.
another hideout. I'm
Every
gonna kill
single
every
thing
single
about it
person in there.
feels good.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
the story's
And I
not
think-
great, but I don't
Mm-mm.
care that
When
much. The gameplay is amazing.
when you've got a shotgun that good, you can spend 40 hours in it.
And I think that's the thing that really stuck with me the most about Rage 2 is if, like, I remember after beating that game that I was like, this is kind of the new standard for how good it feels to play a shooter. Like, I was like, if the new Wolfenstein or the new Doom feels even half as good as this game does to play, it's immediately going to be the best thing.
I'm
Like,
going to say Rage might feel better than any other Bethesda published shooter.
It
That's-
does.
I think I might go so far as to say
I
that.
think
It
I
just
would
does.
too.
I don't think it's a better game, obviously,
Mm-mm.
but like I clearly have Bethesda shooters frequently popping up in my lists.
You know
There's
what you
another one
like.
left still.
Mhm.
And I think a big reason I didn't like Wolfenstein 2 as much as others is because I played it immediately after I had put 40 hours into Rage 2.
Oh, yeah.
And like it's a similar built game, but Rage 2 is like playing Wolfenstein 2 at triple speed.
Yeah, like Wolfenstein's easily the slowest of the three,
Yeah.
Rage being without question the fastest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rage kind of gives you like all the options. Like you've got power-ups, you've got crazy like some like Ratchet and Clank weapons. All of them have alternate fires. You can slide around, you can jump around, you can hover. Like it gives you just all these options to like play around with how you want to shoot stuff. So it's more than
Yeah.
just like duck behind a thing, pop up, shoot some stuff, or shoot and
Yeah, and all
run
the
around.
like telekinetic power kind of stuff, those I thought were a really good addition into that game compared to other like things you don't have in a Wolfenstein or a Doom that are just based around really, really cool shotguns and rifles and everything. I
yeah.
thought adding the ability to like create a little black hole singularity thing to suck all your enemies into, and being able to make something that like levitates all your enemies for a second and you can beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, or so they pop up in the air and you can shoot them out of the air.
Yeah. I felt like that game had amazing gameplay. The story is definitely lacking, but it is what it is. That's not really why I play those games. I think I think Wolfenstein has the best story of all of them. I think Rage has the best feeling gameplay. Doom has the coolest setting and
Probably the best
weapons,
level
I think.
design.
Yeah, easily.
And I think
that-
the
and-
enemies in Doom are cooler, and like the animations in Doom are better.
Like Rage and Wolfenstein don't have combat chess. Like it's I think that the fact that Rage can out shotgun and out power fantasy Doom is fucking nothing to like write off. Like
Mhm.
I wish that some of the things surrounding that game were better, because I think that the things that it does well, it does second to none.
Yeah, I think it did open world really well. Like I thought the vehicles were good. The one time in the game it gives you like that little flying saucer thing
Mhm.
that made it really easy to get through by far the worst part of the entire map.
Yeah, that
The little
that
forest.
whole fucking area, like what the
That
fuck were they
forest-
thinking?
The forest was awful, but I just flew over it.
Yeah, no, same. But
Couldn't
Yeah.
drive through it.
They
Driving
give
through
you
it was
they give you that
horrible.
vehicle at just the right time too. It's
Yeah.
kind of just like, okay, I think I'm tired of driving around in this game. I've been doing it for
Yep.
20 hours. Like, okay, cool. Why don't you just basically use this fast travel thing?
Flying,
And you're
flying
like,
a straight
cool.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought that game was good. I think were we the only three that touched it?
I played it.
Okay.
I played all of it. My favorite
Should
part
play
was the overly specific subtitles, like how at the end where the subtitle says "breathes poisonous mist on Walker."
It's because they knew that it wasn't clear enough. And they're just like, oh fuck, we should probably just tell them what happened.
Better safe than sorry.
Sean, what is your number 6?
So my
game?
number 6 is a game that I imagine a lot of people first saw it as a GIF on Twitter, and when I saw it, I thought there's no way that this is more than there's more depth to this than just this GIF. And then I ended up really, really loving it, and that's Baba Is You.
I think it's wild that you assume
Oh.
that's how we found out about that game.
Well, I just mean a lot of people in general.
I genuinely thought you were going to say Peggle 2. Genuinely, I did. I was
I wish.
ready for it.
I just mean a lot of people in general because you know that
I don't even know what
that-
GIF you're talking about.
or maybe just the launch trailer went around and around and around. And I saw it so many times where it's just like it shows the basic like first 2 levels, and I thought it was going to be. I didn't think they could get that much out of the core mechanic, and then God, the amount of mechanics that are in there as you go further into the secret worlds, like you get stuff like has, isn't, and just like all sorts of like
And what?
wild stuff.
It
Yeah, but-
truly is
Except-
yeah, but
the
like-
ship's challenge of the new generation.
Yo, fuck Kiki though.
Yo, fuck Kiki.
Always sad to see Kiki show up.
I mean, I think Kiki is fine compared to me. Me is the worst. When that guy shows up, ugh.
Well, I mean, we've all often said Baba Is You is slightly better than Resident Evil 7, but slightly worse than Jackbox Party Pack 6.
You
It's
can't
true.
stop us from saying it.
We've all
Coming
we've all
in
said
I've been
at
that.
saying
what
this for
number?
years.
I wake up in the
Coming in at
morning
number
and say
71. Also
Hunter, what's
two-
better than Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, Hunter, wrap this particular episode up.
Tell us about your Resident Evil 6.
Oh, my favorite Resident Evil 6 is Bloodborne.
that low. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I put it at 10.
Yeah, but you haven't played it really.
I mean, I like Bloodborne as obviously since it's on this list, but I feel like I'm just kind of starting to get tired of the whole formula, I guess.
That's understandable.
The secret formula.
Because like, there's obviously differences.
It's got a little bit
between,
of
like,
high and a little bit of low.
Yeah, there's obviously differences
Keep it on the
between
low.
the Dark Souls games and Sekiro and Bloodborne, but they all kind of play generally the same.
The same formulae.
Yeah, like
That's
it is a transferable skill set, one might say.
And I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to get done with it.
I agree, actually. Like, I'm excited for Elden Ring whenever we get to see literally anything of what that game is.
Right.
But I have been saying for a while now, like, I want From Software to return to the Armored Core franchise now that they know how to make a fucking video game. Because they did not when they made Armored Core, any of them.
They're gonna make King's Quest games again.
Yeah, they're fucking making a new
Or
King's
wait,
Quest game.
Not King's Quest.
Kingsfield.
Kingsfield.
I
Same
want them to
thing.
make that something and cookie game again, whatever that was called.
Cookies and Cream.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's like I just fucking played through that Demon Souls remaster, and I just kind of did it. Like,
Yeah, but you've played that game before.
I have not played much of Demon Souls before.
Played more than I've played, and I've played a lot of it.
That's wild because I've never killed an archdemon in Demon Souls until I played that remake. And it's like, admittedly, a lot of it was just like, I think the Demon Souls was interesting from like the prototype FromSoft thing, but I was kind of just going through the motions. And I guess that's one of the things that I like about Bloodborne is it has so much stuff around the edges that even though the gameplay is a little bit stale at this point, it's got so much there. I'll be talking about Bloodborne in a bit.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to wrap us up for this particular entry of the Games of the Generation. Please join us next time where we will be wrapping this shit up and giving our
Finally.
top
Putting it under the
fives,
Christmas tree.
the final fives. But we will see you then.
The FFs, the FNAFs.
The FNAFs of the generation.
The Five Nights at Freddy's of the generation.
The Five Guys and Freggies of the generation.
As they say.
As they say.